Hey there folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the DC Universe Classics, the Riddler action figure set by Mattel. This is figure number 3 from Wave 16, which contains the Collect and Connect pieces for Bane. This set was first released at the end of 2010, and I got this Riddler as part of the entire wave of Wave 16 in early 2011 from an online web store called Entertainment Earth, and I'll post a link in the description down below. Now, I can't remember how much I paid for the entire wave, but I'm going to guess that each figure from that wave roughly cost about $15-16. Now, taking a look at the second version of the Riddler through DC Universe Classics, you can see the Riddler in a more classic costume as opposed to the more modern costume from Wave 5, I believe. And very interesting, and I really do like this Riddler compared to the other Riddler. And he does come with one accessory here, the cane, which was also included with the original version of the Riddler in Wave 5. And down below you can see the part, you can barely see it in there, the left arm of Bane. Here we have the back of the package. It's a nice picture of the figure there, although notice that the question marks are in a different font type, so this being probably a prototype there. And we have a biography for the Riddler with some statistics down below that. And down below everything else, we have the other figures from Wave 16. We have Jonah Hex, the Creeper, and the Riddler, Robin, Mercury, and Azrael Batman. And we have the Collect and Connect figure of Bane. Now, this particular wave really didn't have too many variants other than just the Robin figure here, which was, I believe, really just a head variant on there, but not included. The heads are not included in the set. There's actually separate packaging. One with the Golden Age Robin, and here the Bronze Age Robin. Now we'll be right back and have the Riddler here out of the package. Okay, we're back and we have the Riddler out of the packaging, but before we take a closer peek into the figure, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the items that come included with the figure. And first up we have here the Collect and Connect piece for Bane. This is the left arm for Bane, and it's actually quite detailed. You can see on Bane's arm here the device that juices him up, and it's actually quite neat. You can see this green hose here. It's made of soft plastic and is quite bendable, and it's pretty cool. And it's got some devices attached to it along the arm here on the bicep that's glued into the arm, and also the device here. You can see the details on that. It's actually quite nice, and that's glued onto the wrist area. Very cool. And you can see that Bane here has some fingerless gloves with some glossy black paint on here. It's very cool, and of course a closed fist on there. And over here, this band going around the bicep is actually sculpted into the arm. It's not an elastic band, but still pretty cool. And even with this hose here attached to the arm in different places, doesn't seem to hinder the articulation much. You can see you can still move the parts of the arm around, and it's actually kind of neat. So very cool piece included, the Collect and Connect piece, the left arm of Bane. Now, taking a look at the one other item included with the Riddler, and that's the cane. And this here is essentially the same cane that came with the question from Wave 5. and you can see the question mark here sculpted into the top part of the cane there. It's actually kind of neat, and you got some sculpted details at the bottom end of the cane there. Unfortunately, it's just cast in this very dull gold plastic, and no painted detail at all, so it looks I wouldn't say cheap, but close to cheap. But it would have been nice to have had some painted detail on here to make it look a little bit nicer. Also, the plastic I used on this is a little cheap also. It's very, very soft and could easily be warped. I don't know if... yeah, mine's pretty much straight, but you could see it easily warping out of shape on here. So, but it came included with the Wave 5, and of course it came with this version of the Riddler. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Riddler right now. And it's a very cool figure. It's a figure, this version of the Riddler I actually prefer more than the Wave 5 version of the Riddler. I guess you could call it the modern Riddler. This one is more... closer to the classic Riddler in that he wears the bodysuit, and also has, of course, the question mark. But this one has question marks throughout the bodysuit, which is pretty cool. Trying to remember, I think the classic Riddler, or at least the one from the TV series from the 60s, I don't know if he had question marks throughout his suit. I think it was just really on the chest area. But still, it still looks nice, and the font type used for the question mark is actually, I think, better than what was shown on the packaging, which was a prototype. I actually prefer this font type than the one on the packaging, so it's actually pretty neat. But taking a look at a closer peek into the figure, you can see the head sculpt here, and he has very slicked back hair, very cool, and a domino mask in purple, which is pretty nice. White eyes there beyond the mask there, so it's kind of neat. But going back to the hair here, nicely detailed in the sculpt. You can see individual lines sculpted into the hair, and thankfully not much blue painted on there. A lot of figures from Mattel with black hair, they tend to overdo it with the blue highlighting, and this one thankfully is very light, if there at all. It's very hard to see, but you can see some very faded blue throughout the hair, and I'm glad that it's this much on there, or lack of it, I should say. It looks very nice. I really like it, especially all that sculpting in the hair. And the face on this figure is a lot better than my Wave 5 figure. I had a lot of not paint slop, but plastic slop on my Wave 5 figure, especially around the chin area. This one here is actually rather clean and very nice, and I like it a lot on here, and looks very, very cool. And taking a look at the rest of the figure, as I mentioned, he wears this bodysuit, so there's really not much sculpting detail. It uses what looks like the average male buck for the DC Universe Classics. And being a bodysuit, there really isn't that much detail to go into it, so it's almost as plain as it can be. But still, if you add all of these neat things here and there, it makes a rather plain figure stand out, and that's really the question marks throughout the bodysuit. It's very nice, and it's been applied very well. You can see I think these are tampos on these question marks, and they're applied very cleanly. Nothing, no smudges, no misalignments or anything that I can see, and it's actually quite nice. And also you got the shade of green, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, my camera, or I should say the lights, are really bright, and they're making the camera pick out the green a little bit lighter than it should be. It's a tint darker, and It's really nice looking in person, and there's actually little bits of shading in the areas, in the recessed areas of the figure, where it's just slightly darker green, not so much where it's obvious, and it makes it look very nice, especially like here in the abdomen area. I wish I could you could see it through the video, but through my camera I'm looking at it. You really can't see it, but it's very nice. Nicely applied shading into the recesses of the arm, the abdomen, just wherever on the body. It's very nice. One sculpted detail here are the gloves. You can see that the gloves, they aren't just painted on, but they are part of the sculpt there, which is very nice. It looks like a tiny bit of paint slop right there, but not too much. But it's pretty nice, and the purple on here is a very flat colored purple. And again, the lights are kind of washing out the color detail. It's a little bit darker than it shows on the camera. Very cool. And also on the purple or on the belt. Here it's simple plastic here. Actually, I think it's a separate piece from the torso. I think it sits on top of the lower torso there, so it's actually kind of cool. You got the buckle here, which is simply tampoed on there. Would have been nice to have a little bit of sculpt on there. And then moving down to the leg area, you got the simple bodysuit, so really the sculpt of the buck there. Not much detail on there other than the musculature that's showing on the sculpt on the leg. So, but very nice, especially with the question marks on here to add a layer of detail on there. So that's actually kind of neat. Feet are rather flat here with some peg holes on there. So overall, a nicely sculpted figure of a basic buck, but with the added details of the question marks and some paint and sculpt details here on the gloves. It makes the figure look rather nice, and a version that I actually do prefer more than the suited Riddler. Going over articulation for this version of the Riddler, the head can go all the way around and can go up slightly and down, and even tilt side to side a little bit. In certain positions the head is a little loose on here, you can see, but when you pose it like off to the side here, it's actually pretty solid. So it's just in certain areas where the head seems almost bobbleheadish, but not too much there. The arms go all the way around at the shoulder, and they go out and in. And the arms at the biceps can go all the way around, a little tight, but not too bad. And single joints at the elbow, hinge joint that allows the arm to bend this much forward and that far straight. The hands are on a swivel cut, allows the hands to go all the way around. And the torso here is on a hinge that allows the torso to bend downwards, up and back about that much. And there is waist articulation, allows the torso to go all the way around. And the legs are on the typical DC Universe Classics hinge and swivel joint. Allows the leg to go up about this much, and down, and this far back, and this far out to the side. There is a swivel cut at the thigh, allows the leg to go all the way around. And there's a hinge at the knee, where you can get this leg out that far straight and this far back. And there's a hinge at the ankle that allows the foot to go up and down, and that's about it. There doesn't go around or anything like that. So overall, a standard buck figure with nice detail to cover the simple sculpt of this figure, which is very nice. And again, a version of the Riddler that I prefer more than the suited version from Wave 5. This is my casual peek into the DC Universe Classics, the Riddler action figure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.